This is cast testing video 1 of a series where I test many different Bait Finesse reels using 12-pound fluorocarbon line. In this cast testing session, I'll be testing out the KTF 2.0 size 30mm spool. I have this spool installed on the 2025 Daiwa Steez Limited CT SVTW. I also have upgraded the side plate bearing to the IXA bearing. The spool itself does come with the IXA bearing and they're both double layers. If you want to learn more about this project, or if you want to check out any other reels that I have tested using 12-pound fluorocarbon line, you can check out the playlist link via the description below or the end screen. So I'll be spooling up this Bait Finesse reel with Varivas Absolute AAA 12-pound fluorocarbon, and I'll be pairing up this reel on the Grassroots Engage Knives. This is the EKC62L-F, and this is a rod that's designed by the Father of Bait Finesse. You guys can learn more about this rod, or you could purchase this rod at Bait Finesse Empire. Left a link in the description below. Let's get in the water and throw the heaviest lure first. We want to explore the braking system because the cotton braking system is very unique compared to many other reels out there. We're going to see how well it can handle different weight lures casting far distance as well as close quarters. Let's go. All right, got to the water. Look at that nasty gunk. That's from the fall turnover, baby. We have temperatures around 60s and even below 60s a couple times for the past 2 weeks, and it looks like the water's finally clearing up. Look at that. You see the tiny little fish. Fall bite is gonna be here very, very soon. But we're gonna be not fishing today, just doing some casting. So let's talk about what we're doing first. So I have the Z-Man. This is the baby goat, not micro goat, baby goat. This is 1/10 ounce, and the total weight here is approximately 6.2 grams. I believe this is 1/10. It might be 1/8, but I swear it's 1/10. But the total weight here, you guys take a look at the picture, is about 6.2 grams, okay? But what we want to do is we want to explore this brakes for you guys very quickly, because I talked about this spool specifically, the Kahin spool. When you cast very lightly, it's gonna break very lightly, but when you cast very heavy, it's gonna break very hard. And it allows Sawamura-san, Father of Bait Finesse, to be very versatile with one setup for achieving long casts and also doing close trajectory casts, low as possible, and have the softest entry, right? So let's see how this behavior, right? So let's cast 20 breaks max, hard as I can, and that's actually not too bad, okay? Didn't spool myself. So let's reel this in, and I'm gonna cast very softly to show you guys that this thing overspools. And I'm only showing you guys right now because when I cast this, you know, 20 pounds is easy to fix with a backlash. But let me just show you guys very softly. Look at that. I think it's overspooling like crazy. You saw that? Very crazy. So let me fix this, and let's continue further exploring this. But yeah, if I were using very thin line, dude, you could be damaging your line. 6-pound fluoro, when that thing get bird nested and you gotta pick at it, that thing's gonna get dinged up like crazy. 8 pounds, probably so, not as bad. But yeah, 12 pounds, I'm pretty confident that I can fix this, no problems, no dents, and we'll keep fishing. So let's do some close quarter casting. All right, so that is 20 breaks, and you're not getting that much distance if I'm casting this way with max brakes on. But it's good practice for me because it is crazy. I want to let you know how crazy it is to try to feather 12-pound fluoro, because when you cast those thinner line, when it depletes, you're constantly putting pressure to your spool when you control the spool, right? But because the line is thin, you don't need to move your thumb a lot. But when you use a thick line like this, because it depletes so quick, you have to constantly get closer and closer to the spool, but you don't want to get close like too quick where you just stop the entire spool from spinning. So recently you may see me do a lot of these casts, and I may, you know, overspool a little bit here and there. It's because of the braking style, and also with the thicker line, I'm trying to adjust and, you know, get used to using a thicker line. But that's 20 breaks. You know, I can see that casting like this with softer brakes, right? Because you get it closer to the water without swinging too hard, because you swing too hard, what happened is the lure actually gonna hit the water too hard, right? But imagine if I were to lower my brakes even more. Let's try like 16. Whoa, it comes out so quick, like so quick. Like if I don't thumb, see that, it overspooled just a little bit. I had to stop it because I didn't want it to go crazy. But yeah, it's very lightly braked. But while it's still at 16 brakes, cast out there, that definitely got further than max brakes, and it's a little bit more accurate. Let me lower it a little bit more. Let's do like 12. I'm gonna explore the reel here with just, you know, casting far for a second. All right, look at that. I almost spooled myself. 12 pound, yeah. So bait finesse is not about casting far, it's all about close quarter fishing, right? So I can see the more you increase the diameter, right, you definitely won't get that casting distance. Like I think if I put like 14-pound test line with this lure, I probably spooled myself already. All right, let's put this at 10 breaks, just cast out there. Okay, so two things, okay? So I saw it overspooled at the beginning, and but it fixed itself. And you can see that I'm depleting more on my line, so I could definitely spool myself if I put like maybe 8 breaks, but I'm afraid if I'm casting like that, it may just backlash. Overspooling is okay if it fixes itself, but if you overspool like that, look at that. That actually didn't get any further, because what happened was when it overspooled to that point right there, it actually slows down your cast anyway. So you wanna not do that. So I'm gonna put it like probably 12, because I'm gonna use it for not really casting far anyway. It's really, I needed to be able to manage when I do these close quarter casts like these. Oh my gosh, you guys saw that? Like 12 breaks. I didn't feather myself, and whew, it was overspooling like crazy. So I think 12 might be where I wanted to be at, but I think I'm gonna put it at 14. I'm gonna give it 14. I wanna get my thumb game up. Okay, so as you saw, not too bad, distance-wise. Okay. Close quarter casting. Super soft entries. That's the whole purpose of bait finesse. Okay, so not bad, not bad. So to fully explore this reel, we just tried casting heavy lure, close quarter, and far distance. Let's lower the weight, okay? Let's try something a little lighter. All right, the next lure I'm throwing is the Z-Man Fuzzy Nuggets, and I have rigged up with the size 1/0 loop mosquito from Varivas, and I have a 0.9 gram weight right there. So this is wacky rigging. Pretty cool. This is definitely the way that I will fish dice, which is wacky rig. I know a lot of people drop shot things, but fishing dice in cover, I'm telling you, you gotta go with bait finesse, okay? Go bait finesse, you get some thick line like this, you fish the cover, you will catch a good amount of fish. And I will portray that this fall into, you know, like early fall into fall, because fish are still somewhat in cover. So I just need to get the kayak out and show you guys, this is legit, okay? So anyhow, that's 14 breaks. Let's do some casting, okay? Let's do some hard casting first. So the total weight here is 3.2 grams. It's actually very, very light. So having this spool with 12-pound test line at 14 breaks, it casted pretty good for distance. Let's lower the brakes just a little bit to 12. Okay, so I did feather it a bit in the beginning. I believe I felt overspooling, so let me do one more cast. Okay, so maybe not. But I am getting pretty accurate casts, so that's good. You know, the problem with you know, bait casting, the lighter you go, potentially it won't be accurate at all. And then when you add thicker lines and they're stiff, that also impedes in your casting distance and accuracy. Okay, but so far no problems. At break 12 casting out, that's okay distance. I mean, given that it's this light, I don't expect it to fly like the other lure. Anyhow, let's do some close quarter casting. I beefed it back up to 14 breaks because I don't want to destroy myself, but there we go. That is a problem here. So when you have stronger brakes, what happened is, I don't know if you saw it, when I do my cast, I have to compensate and do a heavier cast. You see that? See how I swing down and swing up and splash back down? Okay. The lighter your setup is, likely you're gonna have to do some sort of cast to get your lure out to where you want it to be and not backlash. And you're gonna cause the lure to go up too high, and depending on your lure profile, you may do a crazy splash. And I think that's why it's really important for Sawamura to say, hey, you need the lightest spool as possible. You're gonna have to have the best bearings so that it starts off easy, right? And let's do some close quarter. casting. So yeah, I am casting. It's not bad. I think I could definitely cast a little bit better if I had something heavier. This is 3.2 grams, and I started to see something. Okay, I see something. You know, when it goes to like the fishing, bait finesse fishing, there's a lot of terms out there. Power bait finesse is a very, very popular term out there, and you know, people don't really have an agreed definition. You know, some people say it's just power fishing using bait finesse. Some people say, oh, it's basically using heavier lures from 3.5 grams and up. And then recently I've discovered that it's thicker line. And I just got better clarity from talking to Sawamura. It's all of the above, okay, in a way. Okay, so let's talk about it for a second, okay? Power bait finesse is definitely power fishing because you are using it to fish cover very quickly and effectively and efficiently, right? So it is power fishing using bait finesse. And then two, it is definitely heavier lures because I am seeing that this lure here, you know, I could cast not bad for distance-wise if I cast far out like that, right? But when it comes to casting closer, I am somewhat struggling for that close quarter pitching, right? I can see it already, like all the things I would run into, you know? And that's why I think people say 3.5 grams because not all setups could do something like this, you know? Not all setups could cast very softly and also cast far. And therefore, in order for people to understand tackle, you know, they kind of set that parameters out there. And I can see there will be reels that's it's gonna be tough casting this specific weight using 12 pounds or even thicker fluorocarbon because the fluorocarbon is stiff, right? So yeah, anyhow, I'm still practicing and I do see the benefits of the cowhand braking. Like if I want to cast something this light like that low when I do low trajectory cast, I would probably have to lower the brakes for a different reel, like any Daiwa reels out of the box, which I will be doing testing, by the way. But yeah, there you go. This is close quarter flipping and pitching type things, right? Well, that's just pitching, not flipping. But I feel like the cowhand braking does help, allows me to get the lure out. Not that easy, unfortunately, because you know it's you gotta master your thumb game. I'm just not there yet. It's eye-opening for sure. But let's put one more test. I'm gonna remove this weight so that it's a lot lighter. Okay, so let's remove 0.9 grams and just have the hook and the plastic and do some casting, shall we? All right, so with the KTF spool, let's go 12-pound line. But as you see, I'm casting out there. I'm casting out there. I feel like it is very restricted at 12 brakes. So let's try a little bit lower brakes at 10. All right, I got a little bit better casting distance right there, but I can see it over spool just a little bit in the beginning. And if I'm casting into the wind and there is a slight breeze this way, oh, yep, there it goes. It is over spooling. But I do have accuracy with this, so that is pretty cool, okay? And we gotta take a note of this because I'll be casting the same rig with a couple other setups very, very soon on 12-pound fluoro, okay? But let's do some close quarter casting, okay? Some of these, you guys saw what happened? Like in order for me to try to get it out there, like I flicked it in a way, and because it's so light, I compensated my cast, and then the lure basically swung upwards just to get some distance. So, yeah, there's gonna be a problem, boys and girls. Let me fix this and try to explore a little bit more. I want to figure out what cast will get it to get out, or if it doesn't, well, it doesn't, right? So this is again 10 brakes. I'm gonna put it 12 just in case. It might be easier. All right, so there is some compensation in my cast in order for the low trajectory cast, and that was not a low trajectory cast Jimbo. It was a roll cast, and I am over spooling like crazy. That's a low power roll cast, and I didn't feather. I was like, maybe it'll be okay, but it's not okay. You gotta feather through, Jimbo. Okay. And the problem is when you feather through for any light lures, you're gonna impact this casting, okay? Their casting accuracy. Okay, there we go. It's working. There we go, boys and girls. And how about that roll cast again? Okay, okay. Let's try this way. Okay. And what about that roll cast this way? Oh, that's too high. That's a bad other side roll cast. I do that cast all the time, but I usually don't do it too low, so I need to practice that. But you know, I can see why the IXA bearings are pretty wild, and also having light spools is important, because when it comes to like these weightless plastic and they're very light, it's gonna be hard to cast for many reels, especially using 12-pound test line. But this reel here, the size 30mm KTF 2.0 spool for Daiwa reels, fantastic with the cotton braking system. Wow, that cast testing session was eye-opener. Let me summarize this for you guys. So this is my first time using 12-pound fluorocarbon line on a Bait Finesse setup, and the KTF 2.0 size 30mm spool was fantastic, okay? So I was able to cast very light, and also doing close quarter, I was very accurate. Mind you that I gotta have a good thumb for close quarter, because when you cast very soft, it's gonna be breaking very soft, and it really requires you to be on top of your game. And using thick line was a new experience for me, because as I mentioned during the cast testing, right? When you cast with thick line, when lure comes out, it depletes very quick, okay? The line depletes quick, and therefore when you're feathering the spool, you need to ensure that you continue to make your thumb get closer to the spool, but you don't want to do it fast, so fast that you smash your finger onto the spool to the point where your lure just stop flying out. So it's truly a feathering game. I'm very impressed with this reel, and I can't wait to explore it even further, especially using thicker line towards the power Bait Finesse side. But for this specific video series, I gotta say, I set that bar pretty darn high. I mean, the Father of Bait Finesse, obviously he tuned his spools to work the best out there, right? So to compare other reels out of the box, it's gonna be difficult to beat this specific spool here, especially for reels with the same size spool. But it'll be very interesting to see different reels and what their capabilities and their limitations are, and potentially we could drive the market into a different place, especially if people are using Bait Finesse in tournaments, or simply just using Bait Finesse how it was developed, which is catching fish out of cover. I thank you for watching this video. I hope you have found it useful. If you are interested in using Bait Finesse, especially catching fish in cover, make sure you subscribe to the channel, as I'll explore more things I learned from Sawamura himself. And especially if you want to continue following this video series of me exploring different Bait Finesse reel casting 12-pound fluorocarbon line. The fish don't wait.